And this is Dr. David Marburger's variety demo plot. And you can see in the trial that the front range was planted much later, about October 25th, compared to the back range, which was planted September 13th, so a difference of about 6 weeks. Of course, as you would expect, there's a tremendous amount of difference in the growth of the plants, but you can also see what that planting date did in terms of the incidence and severity of leaf rust on the plants. Looking at these plots back behind here, you can see that they're much more severely yellowed. Some of them, of course, each plot is a different variety, and some of them have more or less susceptibility to leaf rust. And those that were extremely susceptible, those lower, older leaves, and in this case, a lot of the older lower leaves are turning yellow because of the rust infection. You don't see any of that in the later planted wheat, which of course there's not near as much growth. Well, I would still say that they should be watching more so in the early spring to see, because the rust that's here, if we do have a cold winter, it should kill the rust out and it won't keep infecting the new leaves, so there won't be carryover. If we have a mild winter, that leaf rust could keep going through the entire winter, and then there's a lot of inoculum there to start, and so they'd have to be prepared to spray early in the spring. But if you were grazing, planted much more like this back range and then grazed it, you'd be removing a lot of that foliage and removing a lot of the rust, and you wouldn't have near as much infection in there. We have gotten some reports of rust around, but haven't really heard it worse or less worse in any place. The area up in north central Oklahoma, we have gotten some reports of tan spot from no-till fields a little bit more. But again, that's due to this extended mild weather that we've had. If somebody had a susceptible variety and they had sprayed and protected it, this probably would have been the year to do that. But in my almost 35 years here, this is the first year that I've really seen it like this. Inoculum for both leaf rust and stripe rust will blow up from Texas come springtime, but it's all going to depend on the weather. It's going to depend on if we have the right conditions for the rust to infect and start replicating and spreading within the state as well as within Texas. Of course, if they undergo a drought and we don't, then there won't be much inoculum coming up from them.